Pretty much every day I get asked questions I cannot answer. Not because I don't know the answer, but because the question is missing information. And I'm not the only one. If you go on Discord, forums, or Reddit, you'll see that all the time. Questions with no context, no explanations of what the person is trying to do, or what they tried to fix the problem. Or even worse, a slanted photo of a screen showing some code. Blah! I want to give you pointers on how to ask good questions, whether it is online or not. This will be more related to technical stuff, but I guess it can be applied anywhere. Why should you care? Because by asking good questions, you increase your chances of getting a good reply. Before we start, I want to acknowledge that TDQuest made a video about this topic not so long ago. My script was already written, so I decided to keep doing my video, but I encourage you to watch their video too. Before jumping to your preferred platform to ask questions, you need to ask yourself some questions. Is there any error? If you have one, first you can try to understand the error. Errors are here to tell you what's wrong. Most of the time, they are pretty self-explanatory, but you need to carefully read them and understand them. They usually show you where the problem is arising from and what is not working. If you don't understand the error, you should search online. In your search prompt, add the software you're using and what error you have. If it's a common error, you might resolve the problem quite easily. For example, this error is very common in Godot. It's telling you where it's happening and what is the problem. It might be confusing at first because you don't know that you should not add or remove a physics object while it's doing things. But if you read carefully, all the informations are here, and Godot is even suggesting a fix by telling you to use call deferred and set deferred. If you search online, you'll find multiple posts explaining you exactly what is happening and how you can solve the problem. Another type of problem you'll see is an output different from what you're expecting. Your code is not spitting out errors, but the result is not what you thought it would be. This is the hardest to debug as you don't have an obvious error to fix. This is when asking yourself questions can be useful. This is also known as rubber ducking in the programming field. You explain your problem to your rubber duck, which is sitting on your desk as if it was a programming buddy, and hopefully it will help you realize what you're doing wrong. This can work because it puts you out of the loop and it forces you to explain things even if it sounds obvious. This forces you to dissect the problem and explain what you're doing step by step and why the result is not what you expect. When you explain step by step, it's usually when you realize the error you've made. You've heard it before, Google is your friend. If you can't figure out the problem, you can search for a similar problem online before asking people. You're usually not the first one to experience such a problem, so finding answers online should be a mandatory step in your problem-solving journey. This is also helpful to understand if the problem is coming from you or from the engine, for example. It's totally possible to stumble upon a known bug in the engine, which results in an unexpected behavior. Since ChatGPT came out, it's becoming more popular for beginners to ask their questions directly to ChatGPT or alike. I'm not against this, I just think you should be cautious as these AI can sometimes hallucinate. For example, when asking ChatGPT to come up with a self-freeing script for particles in Godot 3.5, it will hallucinate a signal particles finished, which doesn't exist in 3.5. The good thing about these AI is you can use natural language to ask your question, and you can even include your code. You should ask your question the same way you would normally do, by providing context, details, and even your code if needed. Now that we've seen the different steps before asking a question, let's see how to ask a good one. The first thing is to not ask to ask. You think you're being polite, but you greatly reduce your chances of getting a reply. Why is that? Well, when you see someone asking if they can ask something, you don't know what they'll ask. You might just ignore the message as you don't know what will be the question and you don't want to feel obligated to answer once you reply to the first message. This is even more true in public forums as the bystander effect can also be triggered. If you ask your question directly, any person with the knowledge necessary might see and understand your question. They can decide more easily if they want to take the time to reply or not. You can be polite and say hi at the beginning of the message, but ask your question in the same message, please, especially in chats. You need to provide context. People don't read minds yet, so you need to give them the information they need to help you. Put yourself in their shoes. Let's see how you can do that. What are you trying to do? Explain what project you're working on or what tutorial you're following and what you're trying to do. I'm trying to make my 2D character move only along the x-axis using the left and right keys. In one sentence, I'm telling you I'm trying to move a character in 2D in only one axis and how. Explaining what you're trying to do is especially useful to suggest you other techniques. You might be going with a solution that isn't suited for what you're trying to achieve. If you don't give the context, people won't be able to provide you with a solution or to even suggest other solutions that would be better for you. Then, explain what doesn't work, or how the result is different from what you're expecting. As we saw previously, there are two cases. You either have an error or an unexpected behavior. If you have an error, you must include it, and be precise. Give the full error. If you have an unexpected behavior, make sure to explain what you thought should happen and what the result is. Include code, and no, I'm not talking about a screenshot of your code. Most platforms, such as Reddit, Discord, or the official forum, handle code formatting, so you should use that. Code is important for people to understand what might be happening. It's especially useful if there's an error so they can see where it's coming from. Having access to code enable people to search it, copy it, etc. Don't include only the line that doesn't work. Try to give code that can be run or at least is enough for people to understand what you're doing. And no, people are not going to steal your project, so don't be afraid. Include the node tree. In lots of problems, the node tree can be the culprit, like not being able to access something or a naming error, etc. It also helps to understand your code better by giving context. Go even further and add a minimal reproduction project if needed. If you can isolate the problem, it can be tremendously helpful. As I discussed earlier, with the question you should ask yourself, finding a minimal reproduction problem will often make you realize where your error is coming from. If you don't figure it out, it can help people wanting to help you. When asking a question online, you should be prepared to answer questions and receive help. Don't just ask a question and forget about it. People take time out of their day to help you, so try to reply. Respect people's time. If you fix the problem yourself, please explain how. Forums, especially Reddit, are really well indexed on search results, and there's nothing more frustrating than finding someone with a similar problem only to see a comment, "Closing, I fixed it," without any explanations. Even if your fix was, quote, stupid, you should still explain it, as people might be in the same situation as you, and it will avoid a duplicate post being created. Thanks Brilliant for sponsoring this video. Game development is a creative and technical field with a lot of complexity, and many talented people can be scared, especially of the coding aspect. But Brilliant is here to help with a range of fascinating courses that can help you in your learning journey, from math to computer science, with thousands of lessons available and new ones added every month. You'll have access to all the knowledge and resources you need. The bite-sized lessons, storytelling, and interactivity make it the best way to learn complex topics, such as computer science. The curated course Programming with Python guides you with learning one of the most in-demand programming language, from knowing nothing to coding fundamentals. It will guide you from curiosity to mastery through interactive challenges and problems to solve. Start learning and improving your skills today with Brilliant by visiting brilliant.org/MrEllipteach, or click the link in the description to get a 30-day trial for free, and we get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. And with that, I think you should have everything needed to ask good questions, online or in real life. As a final word, remember that people helping you, or not, online, do not owe you anything. Treat people well and with kindness, as you would like to be treated. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!